Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at some antique medical equipment and seeing what medicine was like in the 1500s. Now, these are some old medical books from the 1500s that I picked up a while ago. I wonder if they have a special technique for unbinding these. Anyways, it looks like the first one we're gonna open up here has a lot of really gross illustrations. Now this book seems to focus primarily on surgery and other medical procedures. It looks like it might have been used as a textbook at some point, judging by the annotations on some of the pages. This one has illustrations of various bones and organs of the human body. It's interesting to see how accurate some of these are, especially considering that they were done more than 300 years ago. They even have an illustration of a fetus in the womb. This one isn't great, but some of the others are actually spot on. It's crazy to think that these were done before the invention of modern anatomy. This illustration right here shows a trepanation device being used to drill a hole into the skull. As you can see, their understanding of human anatomy was pretty limited. But they did know that the heart was important. This next illustration shows the different types of ulcers that can occur in the mouth. It's interesting to see how some of these look, and it makes me wonder how they were able to diagnose them. I find it amazing that these practices were used for hundreds of years. And I'm glad that we have advanced so much since then, but I also think it's important to remember how far we've come. There are 12 episodes that cover everything from ancient medicine to the present day. This would have been used for a variety of different ailments, including headaches, epilepsy, and even to treat mental illness. As you can see, they weren't exactly sure what was going on in there, but they did know that babies grew in their mothers' bellies. Some of these are pretty good advice, such as making sure the delivery room is clean and well ventilated. Others are not so much, such as cutting the umbilical cord immediately after birth. This next one is a diagram of a woman's reproductive organs. Once again, their knowledge of human anatomy was limited, but they were still able to identify the major organs involved in reproduction. It wasn't until the late 18th century that they stopped doing this. They were really cheap because, well, they're kind of creepy. These were likely used by a doctor or a medical student at some point in the past, and they've seen better days. The idea was that all illnesses were caused by an imbalance of blood, and so by removing some of the bad blood, they could cure whatever was ailing you. And of course, they would use these leeches for just about any ailment you could imagine. From a cold to a gunshot wound, and yes, people still use leeches even after the invention of anesthesia. Anesthesia didn't really catch on until the 1840s, and leeches were still being used as late as World War II. The covers are falling apart, but thankfully the pages inside are still intact. So let's open them up and take a look at what's inside. Again, this was done to treat a variety of illnesses, and it was a common practice until the late 1800s. These are bound in an interesting way with leather thongs instead of a spine. This illustration here shows a very common surgery performed during this time period called a leeching, where they would attach leeches to various parts of the body to draw up blood. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, I highly recommend checking out the series on my channel. This next illustration shows a procedure called scarification, where they would cut or burn the skin to remove what they believed were harmful humors or substances in the blood. This next book has some really fascinating illustrations as well. And speaking of anatomy, this next illustration shows the different chambers of the heart. Here's another illustration of a fetus in the womb. The last thing I want to show you is this little pamphlet here. It's a list of rules for midwives to follow when delivering a baby. Anyways, those are just a few examples of what medicine was like in the 1500s. Thank you all so much for watching.